What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into Batman the Knight, issue number 2. If you didn't catch issue number 1, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with this series. And Batman the Knight, written by Chip Zdarsky. It's dropping us into the early days of Bruce Wayne, needing to learn from the best, trying to find the best individuals on the planet to learn from. He finds himself going to Paris. Be sure to buy the comics, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 2 of 10, I really am excited about this line because we're going to start learning more about who Henry Ducard is. Henry Ducard is said to be one of the best detectives that ever lived in DC continuity. And it is also said that this is where Batman learned to be a detective, from Henry Ducard, here in Paris. And that's a story I'm really hoping we're going to get to see blossom and unfold as we get further into this line. But our story starts us off with a murder of an entire family and the youngest boy left alive. This is a serial killer that has been stalking Paris, with it all in the newspapers, with it all over the city. People are scared. But for Bruce Wayne, he has only been in this city for 4 weeks. And in this time frame, he has already found what is quote-unquote the best fencer in the entire world. In a couple weeks into training with him, Bruce Wayne has already become his better, hoping to come to Paris to learn from the best of the best. He really has no idea where he is even going to start. Because the truth is, the best of the best, these are individuals that don't want to be found. And they are the best at not being found. And so this puts Bruce Wayne at a whole stop, not really knowing where to go, not knowing what to do next. And with our young Bruce Wayne finding himself atop the buildings of Paris, feeling the most comfortable and free while he stands up here and has the wind touching him. And as he is taking all of this city in, this is where he sees someone across the way. This is where he sees a cat burglar, jumping in on her, surprising her, catching her off guard. This is only momentarily, with our young Bruce Wayne trying to tell her that she is under arrest, also speaking in French very poorly. She catches on to this very quickly. But before this fight can even get going, we see Bruce Wayne, as he charges in, he falls directly to the ground after a knife pins his shoe down to the floor. We see the cat burglar, she jumps right over him and she goes out the window. By the time Bruce Wayne is able to get to the window and look outside, she is nowhere to be seen. And with Bruce Wayne sitting down the next afternoon, he is sitting down beating himself up because he should have recognized who she was. She is known as the Gray Shadow. She is a notorious cat burglar, robbing some of the richest people to ever exist. She hasn't robbed in a very long time, or at least there hasn't been evidence of her robbing in a very long time, so it is presumed that she just quit doing it altogether. The truth is, she only got better at it and left no more signs behind for her to be able to get caught or for it to link it to her. And as Bruce Wayne sits down and enjoys his coffee, this is where we have the arrival of the Gray Shadow, with our cat burglar coming up and sitting right next to him. She's doing this not only to taunt him, but also because she is intrigued by him, trying to figure out what his whole deal is, trying to figure out if he's just trying to be a vigilante or what else he's trying to do. Now, of course, this is a young Bruce Wayne. He has yet to learn all of the lessons that the Batman we know now knows. But letting her know that he does have plans to do that, he just hasn't earned it yet. He is not good enough. He has not learned from the best, and so he can't go back to his city until he learns this. More than anything, he just wants to be able to stop people like her. And so, with her intrigued, really wanting to find out what he could become, she gives him a time and a location, because this is where his training is going to begin. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, we have Henry Deckard being brought in on this investigation of this serial killer that is let loose in Paris, with it continuously being the same MO. The entire family is brutally murdered, and the youngest child is left alive. And so, with the investigation underway, we are picking up with the Grey Shadow, aka Lucy, and Bruce Wayne. And this is where Bruce Wayne is going to begin his training. And with the training underway, Bruce Wayne has to think to himself, is this really what he wants? He is working with a criminal, someone who steals from people, no matter if she says it is from the rich. This is exactly the kind of person that he wants to stop, but he also feels like he has no other option than to learn everything he can from her, because if he is going to catch criminals, why not learn from some of the best criminals to ever exist? But this is also very conflicting for him because he is seeing himself as a criminal as well. To learn from a criminal, you must become a criminal. Recognizing the hypocrisy in all of this, he still presses on because he has no other choice. If he wants to be the best, if he wants to take down the best, this is the path that he has to continue to follow. And so, with him training for several weeks, this is when it comes down to his final test. The final test is breaking into a mansion belonging to Herbert Glodent. He is the CEO of Sunrise Oil, being one of the world's biggest polluters of the ocean. Bruce Wayne, he doesn't have that much moral confliction when it comes to robbing this guy, but it's still theft nonetheless. Not only that, they are stealing a $4 million jewelry box. With them making their way inside the building, getting into the safe, and stealing this jewelry box, it is not long before they see those red and blue lights right outside the window. Somehow, the police, they had been tipped off. And so as the two of them go to make their exit, they split up, they go in opposite directions. And Bruce Wayne, he picks the wrong way. With the police closing down on him, he is able to make his way outside, trying to make his getaway, running through the field. This is where the police officers, they open fire. With them opening fire, they are able to hit Bruce Wayne. With him bleeding out and falling to the ground, we see the Grey Shadow come up from behind, knock these cops out, and pick Bruce Wayne up, getting them out of there before they are able to get caught. And with them getting back to their safe house, this is where we see Bruce Wayne getting patched up, and right now, he doesn't know what to think. Because when they were out there, after he had gotten shot, the only thing that he could think about was protecting that box. All he could think about was the mission, no matter if it even took his life. And so he is afraid of what he might be becoming, with the Grey Shadow letting him know that his heart is going to guide him wherever he goes. And though he is dabbling in this criminal lifestyle, this is not who he is going to become. With Bruce Wayne going in and kissing her, she lets him know that that's not gonna happen. Though he may be young and gorgeous, he is a little bit too young for her liking. But as she goes into the other room, this is where we see someone grab her. Bruce Wayne, completely unaware of what is going on, he goes over to this jewelry box, the one that they had just stolen. As he begins to mess around with it, he finds out that it is empty. Not only that, it has a false bottom. As he opens it up, we see multiple teeth begin to fall out of this jewelry box. And as they clank down on top of the desk, off in the corner, this is where we see Henry Deckard having the Grey Shadow as his hostage, letting Bruce Wayne know that he is in some deep trouble now. And that is where this issue will end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like I said, I'm really excited about this line because of Henry Deckard. This guy is literally the best of the best. He is the guy that taught Batman how to be a detective. and these teeth. This is how he is going to get in the good graces of Henry Deckard. He is going to end up helping him solve the serial killer murders happening all across the city. It just so happens to be highly coincidental that they robbed the one person that might be responsible for all of this going on, stealing a jewelry box where he has been keeping all of his trophies from all of his murders. Or at least by all appearances, that's what it looks like is happening right here. Now, I could be way off base, but that seems to be the direction that this story is going to be taking us. And I know a lot of people that kind of have Batman fatigue, especially young Batman fatigue, because we've seen multiple stories throughout the years of the early days of Batman. But I think this one has got a kind of unique perspective. We're getting Henry Deckard. We're really finding out how Batman became the world's greatest detective. And we're getting the early days of Henry Deckard, because we saw in Batman the Detective, which is a series that I did cover and I do have the full story to it. We saw Henry Deckard years and years later, so it's really nice to see him here in his prime. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.